The time, August 2023. The place, champions, Los Angeles. Loud and PRX, kings of their respective regions, meet on stage for the first time. PRX scores an overtime map win and bounces back from a 13-2 loss and manages to take down the defending champions on a run that sends them straight to the grand final. Hello everyone and welcome back to day 7 of Masters Madrid and our lower bracket semi-final between PRX and Loud. And this is going to be their second meeting here on the global stage, but I'm expecting this one to be fireworks. Hopefully if PRX gives us some funnies. Of course, I'm Golden Boy, you got Mimi, you got Kakuka. This is going to be a good one, Kakuka. I'm excited.
Yeah, totally. I mean, after the introduction that you gave, I'm kind of scared to say anything, but also the stakes were different in that time that they made, because as you were saying, it was the upper final, right? It was the upper semifinal, so nobody was going home from there. We're talking about upsets. We will be talking about form in just a minute, but of course, seeing either one of these teams, especially Loud after the standard that we hold them to, would be kind of a surprise to send them home today.
I agree wholeheartedly with that one. I mean, honestly, it's kind of crazy to see that, you know, PRX, a team that we have really valued for them being a creative, innovative team. But this event, Mimi, it is really just felt like PRX has struggled to not just find an identity, but to find a rhythm.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for PRX has been like balancing the confidence, right? In these early interviews at the start of games, it really seems like it's not there. They're not playing like themselves, but continually in big matches, in second halves where it matters, they continue to step up and find that magic at the very last second. That's what brought them here, but what we're looking for today is really consistency from this team. But this is the match for PRX to prove if they're ready to lift a trophy in Madrid.
Couldn't agree more with that one, Mimi. But earlier, Mika Fabs actually got a chance to speak with PRX's Divide. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Hey Divide, what's up? What's up? How are you feeling?
I'm good.
All right, I like the smile, So, Forsaken previously at, I believe, the top of Masters Madrid, rated PRX a 6 out of 10. Now that you've made it to the top 4, would you like to go back and maybe give a score again now that you've come this far?
I think we have to give credits to ourselves. I think now we are like 10 out, about 10, you know, 10 on 10. So yeah, I mean, pretty excited to play Loud, and yeah, you know what else stands for?
What does it stand for?
It means less, so means less coming for us again today.
Good luck out there.
Dude, that's a GV level pun coming out of that one.
I'm offended.
You should feel honored.
I am.
Feel honored that I
I'm
would
actually
compare
quite proud of him. I'm quite proud of Divide for that one.
But by the way, least confident, like 10 out of 10 I've ever heard. But it's good that he's at least saying that, right? We need to see the PRX fired up for this match.
I mean, especially after what happened yesterday, right? And the way, not the PRX looked, but the way that Gen G made them look.
Oh,
you know, we know that PRX is all about the flashiness, the quick plays, and Gen G had a response for everything, but it is an opponent that they know very well.
I do feel like, though, we learned a little bit more about what Gen G is capable of today than what we saw. So now that makes me wonder what happens here with PRX. Was that a matter of Gen G just flattening people, or is this a PRX team that maybe has a little bit more to show here?
Yes, because I think in previous, yes as in both are true. Gen G look incredible, but PRX, I think in previous matches, we've seen them really push Gen G. That's one where they were making a lot of fundamental mistakes. Players were kind of going off, losing picks. They're taking the normal PRX risks, but against a team like Gen G, with their structure and their firepower, they were ripping that apart.
Yeah, no, it's hard to put into words how just well this Gen G team is playing. I mean, we could probably talk about it all day, and that's why on the other side, you know, you're going to need some players to step up here, right? On the PRX side, you're really looking at Munyet. This guy has truly been impressive, but I'm excited to see him go up against QCK because I do feel like, Kukuka, that QCK throughout this tournament has grown as a player, and his stonks have definitely risen.
Yeah, let me get my strongly agree card to show with you
go.
because it is crazy what we have seen from QCK, especially like the other day when he was sick, when he had to go to the hospital at the beginning of the day to then come in here, play the way that he did, and especially the performance that we saw yesterday. I am very happy with what we saw. I think that we have to be very careful how we talk about that Sentinels versus Loud that we saw yesterday, because in the end, it was two very, very close overtimes. And a QCK that overall is feeling super comfortable, that has found his space in Loud. Many people have that question of, gonna be better or worse than us, but doesn't matter. He's his own person.
The similarities between these two, I feel like, are kind of endless, right? They both had to fill massive shoes. Ching, the best Raze player in the world, and Ospas, the best Jet player in the world, on the other side. I mean, this year maybe. But comparing these two, both these guys have come in, and they haven't necessarily perfectly filled those shoes, but they have stepped up and found their own place in this team. Both got criticized a ton in their respective kickoffs, in the early stages of Madrid, but in the playoffs, in the late group stages, where it really matters, both of these guys have stepped up for their squads.
Exactly. Like, probably the biggest question coming in from Loud into this event is QCK going to be a detriment to them? And I feel happy that all of that people can be quiet for a second.
Oh, for sure. I mean, honestly, if Sadok's telling me that this is what they wanted, I believe Sadok. Speaking of, actually, I'm actually quite excited to send it back over to Mika because we're going to hear from the Capitan himself, Sadok, as we get ready for this matchup.
He's good.
Hey Sadok, how's it going? How are you feeling?
Feeling super good.
Feeling super good. Love to hear it. So last time you guys went up against PRX, PRX came out on top. So what do you think you learned from that match that you think will be important in this one?
They're gonna be super crazy. So yeah, we're just gonna have to be super aware of what they are going to do at the start of the round and be prepared.
Out crazy the crazy?
Super crazy.
All right, excited to see it. Good luck.
Thank you, thank you.
These are definitely two teams that are going to be fighting here with very, well, unique forms, I would say, coming into this one, maybe.
Yeah, I think the last two matches for these squads was very different. For Loud, this was a game that came down to the wire. It was a second away from getting defuses. It was one clutch making the difference for Loud ending up losing that, versus a PRX that's coming into this one after getting stomped by Gen G.
Yeah, so many of these rounds come to close to nothing when we're talking about Loud. As you mentioned, in those retakes, they do not go their well for literally less than a second. And time after time is not the kind of thing that just happens once. But for PRX, I feel like yesterday, Gen G just showed every single weakness that they had. And talking about vaults and talking about what Laka was saying in the interview, there's so much you can learn about how to exploit those mistakes in PRX that is very scary to go up against Loud today.
Yeah, I think PRX are definitely going to have to dial down some of these individual risks they're taking, especially if they're shooting like they were against Gen G.
Big question to ask.
Yeah, I mean, giving away those opening kills, giving away those opportunities is the reason that PRX ended up getting rolled in the way that they did. Loud is another team with fantastic fundamentals that will punish those mistakes.
Yeah, I can't help but feel like PRX just really wants to try and like be, you know, ridiculous, and they kind of have to not do that this time around.
I love this lower third about talking about the pistol, because I think that is also a very important part of what is happening. Even though they are the two best pistol round teams in the entire event, for Loud, definitely yesterday it was not there on the first two maps. It was very complicated for them to push through all of that. Of course, but for PRX, it was the other way around. They got pistols and not much else.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be fascinating to see how both of these teams compare against one another. But for now, though, let's send it down to the stage and bring out our teams for this epic battle.
Bienvenidos a Madrid. Eso no.
Loud.
No confiaron, pero mira, no. Llego con los míos y la grada explota. Le di la razón al que me quiso ver bien. Lo soñé en mi habitación y ahora en primera me ven. No te hablo del avión, vine por mi cinturón.
PRX.
Let's go, PRX. PRX. Let's go.
It's the unique and bombastic team from Pacific in PRX going up against the well-oiled machine in Loud. But the question on everyone's mind here is, does that man right there, Sadak in the middle, have the plan to shut down a team that sometimes doesn't even know what their plan is?
Yeah, Sadak has done this before. He always leads teams to these top-level events, but last time, PRX eliminated them. We're into the map select, and we are starting with Ascent, which is wild to me. Both these teams play ridiculous comps. Loud was locking the Yoru. We see a Gecko from PRX there. I think that this is a match of two teams with incredibly unique reads on the game.
I think that the surprise comes even before that. Loud banning Split throughout the entire year. They have been banning the Breeze, now coming into here. They ban on the Lotus. Definitely feels that they want to adapt more onto the opponent just to, you know, besides showing that they're weak on the map.
But PRX also hasn't been willing to play that map, and they get rid of it towards the end, which means we get to land on Bind here, which I think is also going to be a really interesting map. Historically, some great calling from Sadak on that one. But that's been honestly, my favorite map from PRX's tournament. I love the way they play that Harbor comp. They haven't won all the maps they've played it yet, but I think they have some great ideas that are really tough to deal with your first time playing into it.
Can we get to 3 though? I think that's the thing that I'm wondering is, can we get to 3, or are we going to see Loud kind of do what Gen G did to PRX?
I feel like for both of these teams, we have the question of if they're going to make it through, are they serious contenders to making it all the way through and take on Sentinels tomorrow, right? We need a convincing win for either of them.
I think that this map #1 is really going to decide this series. I think Loud is pretty favored when we get to Sunset, but this first map, I could see it going either way. Both these teams have looked really good at times, have looked really shaky at times on Ascent. I think PRX need to win this map. If they get to 3, I honestly favor them in this series.
Yeah, and of course, I think that fundamentally Loud should have the upper hand coming into this Ascent, knowing that is, you know, the more basic map in those terms. Now, if PRX, like shenanigans, all the crazy rounds that they put, are able to disrupt that confidence onto Loud, I can see them taking this 2-0.
Yeah, and if they... I mean, look, I feel like no matter how you go here, one thing is for certain, is that there's going to be just moments of absurdity on each side. Players are going to be pulling off some wild plays, but where I'm looking at here, I want to see if QCK is going to get rattled by a very aggressive PRX team, and if PRX, well, if they manage to find ways to kind of like wiggle around the brain of Sadak.
You got to look at the newcomers. You're talking about QCK. I'm looking at Munyet. What can he do in map 1? We're into the agent select, and PRX is running back this double initiator, Raze comp, and Loud have returned from the Yoru back to the Phoenix.
I like the Phoenix.
Who would have said, you know, that in 2024, no Sova, no Jet, this is a new way that Ascent is going to be played. I personally really like the Gecko and the Fade as a combo. I think that the information and the hurdling that you can do, all the flooding that you can do with the utility and how recurrent it can be, gives you an amazing edge. And I do think that Loud using the Phoenix here is something that can be countered easily.
This is a massive rematch for Loud. If they could beat PRX here, send them home, have a chance to go for a run in a finals, and maybe get Sadak that second trophy, it would be incredible. But PRX, they always show up at the right time.
Well, let's go ahead and get this elimination match underway and send it over to your casters, and they live for the drama. It's Bren and Sideshow.
Yeah, we definitely do. I mean, there's plenty of it here. This is an elimination game. Loud versus PRX. Without a doubt, one of these teams is going to be going home, exiting earlier than they potentially hoped for here in Madrid. And it's a weird one in terms of the expectations, to be honest, Josh. I mean, you're writing down, going over storylines, whatever, putting a large focus. But for both of these teams, feeling like maybe they've got something to prove here, but maybe not so much for PRX.
I think at the very beginning, this is set up to be an explosive game. The Des pointed out that neither of these teams are playing meta, and both teams love to fight. QCK immediately has just spotted 3 people over towards tiles.
We got lucky that we didn't quite miss the action there getting into the game, because
both of these teams are so fast.
Yeah, slow pause as well, just off the rip, waiting for the reaction of PRX. And look at this, there is that reaction. Loud wandering and waiting into mid, trying to go for the double setup, just swinging into it now with the fault line to set this one up. They want to try and take the brawl, and it's a delayed fight, honestly. At 1 minute, who can really call it? This is it, the damage now, finally. Bullets peppering through, and blind as a bat does not matter for Kawazine. There needs to be the response, and it's there. PRX coming out swinging. Heads have been found here, straight to the cranium. The shots, that's a little bit messy still. The job getting done. QCK. Last one standing, players are weak, walking right into him, but he instant trade. And so a pistol round for PRX, a highlight being focused on by the desk, talking about how much these pistol rounds matter for both of these teams. They're leading in terms of that metric here in Madrid, but it's PRX who are the victors.
And guess who comes out on top throughout all of that? Being able to bail his team out of a rough situation. From top mid, against a tiles crunch, essentially. It's Forsaken, the guy who's been clearly, in my opinion, the best player for PRX at this tournament. I don't think he was during kickoff. I don't think he always has been, but he is right here, right now. Getting him online, getting something online, major win conditions in a match like this where we're expecting so much of this to be brawly. I mean, Loud immediately taking a gamble in round 2, going for a mid-exploration.
Might be caught by Mindfreak. I mean, Mindfreak only has the Sheriff. Plenty of shots. Rattled away.
We're shaking.
Missing the heads here. Snakebite dropped down, vulnerable. Kawazine's holding some util out into his hand. Doesn't know which direction. Flash through. There it is. The follow-up and double face. Might be cleaned up, though, here by Devi. Should be, at least. Nice reactions, yeah. Beautiful business. At this point, though, no real chances for Loud. It looks like to really win this round, but a good chance to highlight really how important winning that pistol round. And this follow-up as well is for them. I mean, PRX and Loud with these comps, very ult generation heavy. They want to try and get these ultimates online, their attack sites. They want to go for these big XX with them. They've got util, they want to dump it into these sites alongside the ultimates.
Yeah, and I think they're going to turn Ascent into an attack-sided map as well. It's one of the reasons I think that QCK's gone back to the Phoenix here rather than the Yoru they were dabbling with. They know that PRX are running this comp without a Sentinel anyway. They're not worried about a Cypher or being able to get into the sites. It is truly a bizarre situation we find ourselves in. Very different from Meta's past when these two teams clashed. But they have been here through thick and thin, through all the metas in Valorant.
Don't get me wrong, I mean, PRX have never been standard, even on Ascent.
That's very true.
Playing their Reina Harbor comp.
They're not standard on any of the 3 maps we have today.
And who knows which direction it's going to go into. Kawazine taking a peek and a wonder. Will get at least punished for it. Head taken clean off. Less. 3 peeks. Plays looking away, but a nice double face of PRX, making sure that they clean up those mistakes. And now the smoke's dropped down. More exploration into mid. Only a stinger, so Forsaken can't quite take a peek, but will they clear this corner? The peek angle, Sadak might just be able to react in time. He's not going to push it. He's just holding for it. 2 years. Anticipating some sort of reaction there. Something now. He's in a forward, close position. Sadak lucky to be alive there with the util out into his hands, but finally with the Paranoid Ascent flying. Follow through with Devi. Watching all the appropriate angles and avenues of the plant down 2 versus 2.
Cover going out. PRX are going to be able to pull a lot of time off the clock here, even if Loud are successful.
In the smoke, flash around the corner, but it's an empty site. Fully evacuated. Wall up. This is cheeky. Devi now has to get a move on, pushing forwards. QCK half on the board, finds the first kill. 1 versus 1. Can he win it? It's a gamble! He's... Oh! Has he got it? Time just about! And that's
Nice.
from that half he got prior. Holy!
What a clutch from QCK. Now that is going to obliterate the Loud economy, because it was a bonus round for PRX. But still, to be able to find the 1v2 there, defending the wall against Devi. Look, he comes off it just at the perfect time to be able to grab that one. But like I said, it's a bit of a Pyrrhic victory. Loud cannot buy into the next. So despite the fact they get on the board, PRX achieve their goals, essentially. And already, we're seeing an attack-sided operator come online for something.
He loves to pull it out.
He's the strangest Gecko player you will ever watch. Do not study his VODs if you're trying to learn Gecko in your ranked games.
I've been watching some old Kang footage.
Yeah.
They really do love to opt into it.
He's also got a vendetta against Dizzy. He tosses him away and doesn't ever pick him back up.
Contacting in could be spelling his own defeat and doom here. There's a judge close to the corner. Sadak, real specialist with that regard. Here we go. Thrash forwards. Wants to take the fight. Stray shots flying through. Pellets for no kill. Only the damage being done. Munyet now fast onto the approach here. Have to cancel that off for a bit of info. Devi, and they have taken tree control. Looking to slip into the back here. Now QCK has a rifle and he's watching for this. No swings yet, just holding for the right time. He's might freak with that one, with the pause being called. I mean, PRX, this is a bit of nuance being added into their own gameplay here. 2 left standing, double face into heaven. That was the real threat, which was QCK with that rifle. With him dealt with, it looks like a sealed up, done deal, detained. You might see some knife action swinging around. We won't make the London reference again, but listen, you know the deal.
For a knife kill, I mean, it wasn't even a knife kill, but for the knives to be coming out for PRX in round 4, yeah, this is going to tick all the boxes.
I think it speaks massively, I think, to their mentality coming into this. I mean, Alex did a fantastic interview, really going in deep in terms of the mentality of PRX as a team. They were saying they'd be happy if they just got 1 win at this event.
1 win?
They're treating it as almost like just a practice boot camp. Yeah. And so the fact that they've made playoffs, they're playing with house money. You might not think that's much, honestly, if you're listening to that as a viewer at home, but I tell you now, there is no team more dangerous than a team with nothing to lose.
Yeah. And a team that's readjusted their expectations. Oh, this is a great idea from PRX. They're making it feel like it's full A main exec, and they've got Munyet so deep into the tree already. Faking as if everybody's coming towards A main.
Rapid here with a nightfall as well. Sound cue's cut away. It's going to be breaking the glass, and already in their faces. More. They know that they've got a couple of trails, so that's why the nade's rebounding under, below, sees, connects, but there it is. Nade just wrapping around and collecting onto 2 years. Too much to deal with. Rocket in your face. But yet, eager to really prove his worth. High and mighty now, 1 player left standing. You don't need me to say it, you can hear the crowd chanting. QCK.
I don't think he's got any intention of allowing the ace to occur. QCK's miles away from it. What a beautiful setup, though, for PRX. I don't think PRX get enough credit for the way that they set up some of their tactical stuff, because they move so quickly and so fluidly, people just assume it's very intuitive and there isn't too much thought really going on. That round, they're making it feel like a big A exec. All of the utility is coming through A, and Munyet finds the timing down mid. When you're a defender on ascent, if you see utility being piled into A main and you're playing in like tree or grass, you are going to focus on A main. You expect it to be 4 or 5 people coming from that direction. And so the fact that PRX have 2 going through as an A split, even though they're not throwing utility for those people splitting it, absolutely ruins this defense. The small adjustments that they make are lovely. But I feel like we've seen this team evolve over the course of this tournament.
They have, yeah.
I'm completely sure that Alex is telling the truth when he says that when they came into this, they were only looking for 1 win. And I was watching them in kickoff, and frankly, I wasn't that impressed with what I was seeing from PRX.
No, it was very slapdash, you know, yeah. They were throwing ideas into the mix. It looked like they were really just improvising.
And just to pull another quote from that exact same interview that you referenced in, Brett, Alex, the coach, said, "We have problems that we need to fix. There's too little time, too much to do. We've been carried by our individual performances, in my opinion, rather than good gameplay and good Valorant." But to me, actually, some of that incredible individual performance has bought them enough time to start figuring out what is working for them. And they get into a match like this, and I don't think they are underdogs. I actually think that both teams could win on any of the 3 maps that we have here. And it's so difficult to predict because they play such off-meta styles. You know, when are either of these teams going to be practicing for what the other person is doing?
Never.
Nobody plays like Loud and nobody plays like PRX.
Yeah. So a blistering pace to begin here from PRX, but throwing enough nuance into their own game plans that it doesn't quite feel like the old textbook, the old documents being read out aloud. They've had that time now to reinvent themselves ever so slightly. Now Loud, with that timeout, we're heading into the half bye. They're going to have time to think about some of the mistakes, the adjustments. Probably not going to be seeing them active here.
And I think one of the things that you're seeing from Loud is that they're very willing to fight forwards. You see the angle that Kawanzin is currently playing at. Think about Sadek with the judge, Kawanzin playing market aggressively. They want to contest PRX and not just give them space. But finding those timings and being able to match the tempo of a team like PRX is quite difficult.
Okay.
Especially for timing shots
again.
like that.
Just off the cue of the flash. 2 players are left stacked now. Cat is being watched. You can see something. He's got his eye on it. Anticipating that there might be that reflank with a minute on the mark here for the round. Definitely time to play with, definitely time to work around. But if they do walk into the Bucky, there is some level of danger here. I mean,
Sadak can't really escape, though.
no, but Mindfreak is way ahead of the pack, so I don't think he's going to get traded, and he isn't. So Sadak's still stuck here. Might have to use util. Nade drop down as well. This guy is now a nuisance. A thorn in their side. He's buying them time, and the mosh pit has to be committed. Forces him out wide into the open. Still alive, by the way.
On yet, he walked in through A main.
Okay, well, he's found that timing from the classic. Okay, a heaven position. 2 years, he's got his, and now it is a little bit messy and scrappy.
But they
are used.
But Monyet lurked in through A main, and now Devi is lurking in through B main. So, because Loud are playing this composition, oh my god, what a shot. Because Loud are playing the comp without the Sentinels, that doesn't play spread around the map, that needs to group up and fight and peek for info, PRX are finding those lurk timings real nicely.
They didn't get ahead of themselves, did they? Didn't get flustered when Sadak got that initial kill. They managed to get themselves into an advantage position, arguably here, lit up a beacon pointing directly towards in a double face. There's no hesitation in the play of PRX there.
No, I don't think that they were anticipating the Horn coming out, though. Forsaken being deep on the B site, they just weren't ready for that Horn lineup in the slightest. Bear in mind that this was a light buy round, so it wasn't the most danger in the world. That timeout that you were talking about, Ren, that Loud took, that's for the rifle round coming up here. Yeah. And we can see that QCK is going for an operator, so you've got the Phoenix op online. Get your bingo cards out. Did you have that one down? Phoenix op versus Gecko op.
There's no chance. Just no chance at all. Fast though, a lot of util now being dumped straight into main. Instant response though, that was a paranoia fragment.
Yeah, actually so much utility being used there by Loud because every other team would cancel after they get full 5-person hit by the KO knife, but not PRX. They will still try to apply pressure to you, trying to look for that timing. So Loud forced to use more utility than you would normally expect, but just giving so much respect.
Hit the TP. Must have.
Certainly thinking about it, wasn't he?
Yeah, almost expecting it now, and a call's been made here. Sadak, a re-clear into mid. Possibly some util to set this one up with the Prowler. PRX going to be aware. They're going wide here, but yeah, no one to cover! Kawazine! Disgusting work, and QCK would have followed through.
Here are the lurkers, 1-3-1 default for PRX. It's on Mindfreak or something to try to find timings. The spike dropped, makes everything way more difficult.
Whoa, what a shot.
Yeah, he does find that opening.
Let's see if this gets work here. Being defended up into mid, crouched, tucked into the corner. That's Sadak. He's essentially alone in this spot. They've doubled up through main. Now he's crouched. He does find that angle and fight. So 1v3 looks just less and less likely. Yeah, it is running and gunning. Okay, saves the day there for Loud. Finally getting that second one on the board.
And Loud choosing to try to fight over mid. I think they're getting the read now. After the timeout, the PRX are playing pretty heavy from mid. And with the Viper wall that Loud goes for, they have the advantage over fighting that cat kind of area. Yeah. You see where the Viper wall goes? Well, assuming that Les throws the same one in this round. And you see that Loud can double up with Tui's Sadak and trying to fight over that area. Now, you know, yeah, there it is. There's the wall going down at the beginning of the round. A judge for Sadak, as is
tradition.
Classic.
As is tradition. Loves to pull it out. Big ults now being earned and built up here for Loud as well. Plenty in the war chest. A main control, B main control. Heavy priority here for Loud because they know how close PRX are to a few of these big ultimates. That's a nice one. QCK punishes that one. Mindfreak usually going to be the lurking player.
I like that Loud swap it up. Previous round they were playing heavy for mid. Now they're playing heavy for the outsides of the map. And Sadak, he's used the ult there. I'm not exactly sure what pressure that was off, but he certainly thought something was happening.
Did indeed Forsaken. Oh my, looked all the way up. Does Kawazine even expect this? No, he's backing away. Silent jumps up though. I don't think Forsaken knows that he's backed away from the angle. He's waiting for time, honestly, making a lot of noise on both sides of the map. There's a thrash, and Monyet just making it feel like it could be present over towards any direction. The QCK layers down with a volley, but a TP forwards to just get right past it. Devi slunk his way into the site, but can he follow up with this kill
Forsaken
here?
Caught.
There's so much going on all over the place.
Yeah, Forsaken lurking through mid, caught though, and now Monyet becomes the other lurker.
25 seconds left. He loses duel at 2 years. Critical one at that. Even no gaps here into the play. Judge right in his face, and operator as well. The barrel practically in his mouth.
That is a bizarre round for PRX. But you can see that they're very clearly trying to work their lurkers into position. It's just that none of them actually found any success. Alex is calling a timeout here and might want to readjust the game plan to have less of the lurk plays going on. But to be honest, look, Forsaken's got a chance of making something happen there. I don't think Cowan's knows that he's around. And if Moniette is able to win the duel against 2Es, these lurkers are finding opportunities, but when they lose their duels, it looks stupid. It looks like they were just destined to fail. But with PRX's style, if they win that fight, suddenly there's a gap in the defense, and PRX are very opportunistic. They do tend to exploit those fairly well. So certainly a weird round, not a successful one for PRX on their attack side, but indicating a little bit of their game plan that Alex might try to adjust.
Good time to talk about Loud's expectations, I think, heading into this entire series, right?
Yeah.
It's a team that are eager to try and take that battle again against Sentinels, who have just been knocked down into the lowers.
Yeah.
So winning this matchup would guarantee that rematch. And
for the fourth time this year.
Exactly. You know Loud are eager for it. They've been shut down, put down the most recent 2 attempts. It was a very close series the last time those two teams played. So listen, they're going to be looking to try and pave that way to redemption. Bit of revenge maybe on the cards too.
And both of these squads had to retool in the offseason after losing a superstar player. You lost Aspas for Loud, you lost Jing for PRX. Alex was talking about how difficult it's been readjusting to life post-Jing. Loud were nose to the grindstone immediately. Started in October, only taking about a month break after Champs, and tried to reinvent themselves, find this new style. And this is what they've settled on.
Hello.
Oh.
Brawl to be taken here. This is an onslaught approaching from every single direction, and nobody can hang on. PRX didn't stand a chance. They're the ones that are supposed to be going for the W gaming.
And such a classic, great idea from Loud. You come out of your opponent's timeout and run a set play to steal the tempo. And they've wiped the floor with PRX. An absolutely flawless round. You'll see that so often. It's a great idea. Your opponent takes a timeout. They clearly want to adjust something about their attack style. And you say, right, well, we're just going to force the fight to them. And they go for a bit of a tiles crunch there, punishing a very wide jumping by Moniette. And ruining everybody over towards B.
Yeah, PRX players left reeling.
Devi going for the glass cannon vandal in this round. So the economy in a weird spot. That is an unusual thing to opt for. Been watching the Howdong VODs.
Yeah, apparently. China gets wild with those. Strange economical purchases. Still, Prowler here setting it up. Disrespect by something. Look at this guy. He's up onto the angle. Doesn't care that he stand up. Hits it with a second shot. Finally, the second bullet. Dashing in with the satchel. And he's upset the aim entirely. Kaozin didn't know which way to look, didn't know which way to aim. Opens up the sight now for the plant. His post-plant positions of PRX pretty sublime. Devi falling. Only chances here.
QCK is going to be ulting back in potentially with only an op to work with.
Dropping wall down in his face, Molly. Oh, goodness me. How does that one catch? Everybody's giving us up. It looks like. What is that? Hello. 2 years. Chasing him over extension. No, I don't think there's any chances. Listen, surely time is running out, but handing these kills just over to him.
And considering the PRX's economy was not amazing to come into this round, these are not fantastic kills to be given in the other direction, but it won't make too much difference because we're so close to the end of the half.
Yeah. Maybe a 200 IQ player. Didn't see how close they were to the ultimates, but maybe they're like, okay, let's just feed our life away. 2 years has already got it. Let's try and build up ours.
What a way of entering, right? Moniette skipping, jumping into the site, and the spacing perfect for the trade. That, coordination not quite as good there. We'll keep an eye on that.
Did him dirty.
Oh, you know the camera operators are watching for every one of those
Hunting
situations.
for it, yeah.
Cowanzine set up with the Odin here to spam into B main.
Face your fear!
Early knife fall. This is an attempt of a fake, but the early knife gives it away. Only one tag. That's going to be onto Forsaken, so the goal of that really to try and make a fake play over towards A. Cut away to sound cues. Odin spam spraying through. They are getting absolutely destroyed here. Yes, something managed to win his one, at least through the main angle. Alter now with that showstopper, wants to send it and let it rip. Rolling Thunder cannot save you away from that one. It's explosive, high-octane action, but an adjustment there. Beautiful by 2 years. Really just expecting that reposition, and it's about catching the tempo and the timings here. Walking right into it, but misses the opportunity. 2 years. Jump spots, gets a bit of additional information.
Good patience, though, not trying to force the fight in this situation, because they have a player advantage to go for the retake. This is going to take effort from Forsaken and something to clutch this out.
Feels confident enough to use the Thrash here to try and clear his way forwards. Popping up onto the boxes. Forsaken going walkabouts towards Tree, leaves it. Now 1v3. QCK's on the flank. Should be unwinnable. Blind as anything. Hasn't given it away, though. Still was holding the shift key this entire time, but if he opens himself too wide, QCK's already there. Justin, did he see anything? Not too sure. Corby and Made jumping down, and there it is. The kill found.
Very competitive half that we've had so far here. PaperX have found some opportunities to burst into the site, but the more that they default, the more Loud are picking them apart, I think. You saw there a cute idea from PaperX, like you said, going for that fake play. But the exec wasn't quite coordinated as well as you would hope for. Certainly not compared to the previous round, where Forsaken was right behind Monyet on the entry. Perhaps lacking that fade in terms of the pressure that they put onto B. Final round of the half, chances to tie this up, but PaperX's economy in the dirt.
Oh yeah.
Compared with double op setups I saw for a moment there on Loud. They'd probably toss them on the floor, looking to play them in the early game.
A heavy stack of Loud as well. They can play over towards A because Les has got the pit down. Not being contested. He was assisted with an early fault line of Kawazine. Look at QCK, he's not worried about it.
No, he's not. I mean, they don't, you know, you would be a little cautious in this situation for some pop flashes through the smoke or this kind of thing, but he's not worried.
Nice shot, 2 years. Expecting it from the high ground angle. QCK. Ball thrown at them. Still, it's back to a multitude of players now, and he's got to try and at least put up that wall to try and prevent them from getting past it. 2 years repositioned, still with the operator, and it's PaperX who are the ones who aren't coming up with really any of the appropriate answers. Double smokes out to try and get themselves into position, but it's being spammed to the right for at work. Hopes and dreams placed onto the end of the barrels, and everything stolen away from them. So evened up. Loud doing a miraculous job there, honestly, bringing it to 6-6.
I think this map is probably going to be a little attack-sided. I think it bodes fairly well for Loud that they were able to pick up so many rounds towards the end of that. It's a game of two halves there. Oh, brutal. But I think the adjustments looked nice. 2Es with the operator on Omen ended up playing really well.
He's getting tremendous value, putting in work. Well, earlier we spoke to QCK just before this match. Let's hear from it.
Sou o Gabriel, mais conhecido como QCK, atualmente duelista da Loud. Não sei muito específico o que eles tiveram de diferente, mas talvez eles tiveram mais momentos dentro do jogo, conseguiram otimizar esses momentos e ganhar rounds chaves que quebravam a economia ou faziam um snowball de ult, e aí o jogo ficou um pouco complicado. Falar sobre isso logo depois da derrota é complicado, estou me sentindo triste, sentimento ruim, mas o campeonato ainda não acabou. A gente tem muito para mostrar ainda, então sem muitas delongas, vamos pro próximo jogo. Sendo bem sincero, não importa. Perder é perder, independente de round. Perder por um round ou por 14 é a mesma coisa, é derrota do mesmo jeito.
Oh man, it's looking more likely. Finally fades away and it's back into it, but here it is. The follow-up. With all the rifles online.
He doesn't have the time.
Oh my God.
Eu não vim para substituir ninguém, eu só sou um novo jogador do time. O time se tornou um time novo, com novas formas de jogar, novas composições, então acredito que estou me saindo bem. Não sei se é confiança a palavra, mas traz um conforto por você jogar com pessoas que já lidaram com essas frustrações antes. Então a gente vai lidar da melhor forma possível. A gente já venceu times com esse estilo de jogo, então a gente vai saber lidar com eles.
Really interesting insight into QCK and his ideas. You know, he's coming into this team. Obviously, a lot of players saying, and a lot of players, fans watching it, saying, well, he's replacing Aspas. He has to fill those shoes. But no, he's talking about how they've reinvented the team kind of around him, this new style that they've come forwards with. And there's parity there between them and PaperX. PaperX have had to do the exact same thing, missing Jing, one of their best players.
But I feel like Monyet is filling in Jing's shoes a little more. They haven't adjusted that style yet. And that's probably one of the things that's had the confidence knocked for PaperX, is that they haven't really figured out what the new team identity is. The deeper they go in this tournament, the more they'll be learning about themselves.
Yeah.
6-6 at the half. Both QCK and Monyet playing well individually so far. But Loud's composition is devastatingly effective when it comes to site executes. So I'd expect PaperX to be doing their classic style of trying to disrupt things before you allow your opponents to ever get into an exec.
Deep delayed knife. Monyet was tagged, but he did not care. Still holds his ground.
Interesting that PaperX have gone for a defensive wall that allows them to, you know, contest mid as well. So they're not worried about Loud's wall.
Giving up that presence, Loud now opting to just contact in through A. And it's an open site, it's a free site. It seems to be a bit of a read. Look at them, they're just fast on the approach. Maybe just hearing those sound cues out towards tree, but they've closed the door in their faces. A bit of stray damage. Sadak is going to be safe though. Safe and sound, able to get that plant down.
They need reinforcements quickly. Their PaperX are apt to flood defend. Cohen's and Less are still really far away.
Pause in the play, a bit of a break in the timing, at least taking Monyet still with that nade. Now, does he choose to use it? Fragment. First wave of it being used out. Here it sends it. Paranoia go flying along with the Dizzy. Swarming into the side. Yeah, 3 players into Hell. Anything to clear this one might have to just jump in. It's a beautiful smoke. TUS is using it to just divide up this side as well, and it's making it more than difficult. Damn difficult. Have on a defuse might make a difference. PaperX mind free going forward. Right click away. An absolute bundle differential. Something running a mockery. Straight through main. Plenty of time available to them. Beautiful, flawless with the execution of that one.
I don't know how he's managed to pull that one out. 3 players in Hell with the smoke set up. The spike is planted for them. Very clear game plan.
What classic is he? Yeah, of course it's PaperX.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
Look at that thing. It shoots different.
Sale numbers up. Get the chart out, Leo. Get the chart out.
Why is there a dinosaur? Don't know. Don't care.
It looks cool. It looks cool.
Yeah, that's a nasty round from Mindfreak. Nothing more to it, really, is there? Loud had a game plan. It got dismantled by some right clicks from the Classic.
Sometimes it be like that. You
really
get shot, you die.
So again, PaperX being able to win the pistol round, right? They won the first.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Des was talking about, Kakuka was saying, that they didn't really get much else in their prior game.
Taste of their own medicine. It's not Sadak who's going to be receiving it though, but Kalzine and 2 years grouped up side by side.
They can pivot this quickly into a B split though.
Contacting, punish for that. Could try and pivot, but not now.
They couldn't get away. They simply couldn't get away from something with this judge.
Chasing them down. And into mid as well. Pistols out now. Wants to take the long range fight. You know the players are tucked into the corner. There it is, cleared out. Last one to stand here. So an important beginning really for PaperX. I mean, again, we talk about these comps. We expect them to be attack-sided. Big execute, generating these ults. It's a clear game plan for both of these teams. PaperX winning this pistol and the follow-up eco, you know, relatively cleanly. I mean, the economy is flourishing after this. Yeah. They can come into this bonus looking nice and strong.
Just to talk about how Loud got anti-stratted so heavily during kickoff by EG, part of that was a Cypher, which doesn't exist for PaperX. Part of it was a double Odin buy, which we might see later on in the half, so keep your eyes open for that. And the other part was playing disruptively before Loud could get into execs. I think this is a perfect round to go for that more aggressive, disruptive defense.
That's a lot of util, isn't it?
It's a lot of util, but it's all a fake. It's to make you feel like they're fighting over A. And PaperX already out there, looking to try to catch a reposition elsewhere on the map. Now Loud have just decided to slowly contact re-clear this area, which is a serious gamble, but they have called the bluff of PaperX perfectly. What a read.
Not sure who that is on the team. Give it to Sadak for now. Nade into the corner. Devi almost getting spammed down, losing his life. But here we are. Another post-plant situation. Loud will be getting this plant down with no real pushback.
Don't put 3 in Hell again, though.
No, probably not. Playing up close, though. QCK in front of the smoke.
Careful now.
Only laid down. Backing away. Now, PaperX did use a lot of that util just in the beginning of that round, so I don't know how much they've got now for this retake attempt. The weaponry's not too ideal either, but Dizzy does the work. 3 revealed and suppressed out there. Forsaken is just in their faces now. Still trying to double up into Hell.
Against the judges.
Again, just pushing them back as well, and there's just random spam and spraying through. PaperX, man! Running them through. And still now sticking on. Broken. Destroyed in the process. Man's there, ready to try and pick up the pieces of this fight, but Carey set the aim in time. Something
dropped. Little bit of danger. Pretty decent damage, considering that that was a bonus round. But Loud do come out on top.
One enemy remaining.
He just managed to get enough kills from 2Es, holding out in A main, supporting the rest of his team. And so here we see one Odin being picked up for PRX. This is what their setup's going to look like a little more often. That's over towards B main. Now, Les is usually going to be trying to take B main control, and the Odin's powerful there. But actually, we're seeing a fight on the exact opposite side of the map. He's so aggressive with the op.
Oh! Just takes it to him. And that's because Loud, you know, they're waiting for these right timings. And they think that they're ready for it. I mean, they're holding that with a lot of players. But something just too quick with it, man. Too quick with it. 8 rebounds close to the corner. That's Munya hoping to catch a player that might have just repositioned there.
What I love about Something is he's so good with Gecko's mobility utility, the legs.
Yeah, I love the way he presses 3 on the keyboard. Pulls out the knife just to run away. He does it better than anybody.
Divide does not have a paranoia to play off here. He's got to rely on the Thrash.
Yeah, he's using the Thrash to trying to set this up here. Good return on the fire there from Sadak.
Down A.
Gets the trade off at least, attainment into the corner, so it's slowed them down once more, but 50 seconds left into the round. No prior map control here for Loud.
Yeah, they've stacked everything in a fight over towards A main. They're losing it, and now PRX have 3 players ready to collect.
Deep orb. Placed by Les. Trying to use this to try and get themselves into position. That spam, the spray, a few stray bullets, TP forwards into the mix of things. But listen, Munya inside the smoke, Loud paving the way forwards here. It's brute force, it seems to be the name of the game, but only one player will stand. Sadak, the IGL, does not stand a chance there. Collected onto the position.
And this is a very classic round by Loud. They realize that their composition is extremely good at A executes. So they try to dominate A main at the start of these rounds with 4 or 5 players. And even if you know that they're going A, their comp is very, very difficult to stop once they send a big exec into you. But before they can even start to take A main control, Something's already run out and got a pick at the very beginning of the round on their duelist player who has an ult to try to entry.
The tempo just at those extremities, man. I mean, it's a clear win con. And, you know, funnily enough, it reminds me of when PRX played against Gen G in the regional finals. And Gen G absolutely counter-stratted the ever-loving sugar out of them. And they were going for the heavy extremity control because the comps operate in very similar manners. They were disrupting that tempo.
Yeah. And I think Loud's comp does struggle the more you force it to split through mid and try to take map control, these kind of things. It doesn't have, for example, a Fade or a Sova to be able to use drone utility or a recon to clear out close corners. It's much better at being able to get these big retakes, big execs going. Loud are skilled enough, talented enough to adjust the game plan on the fly, but they're always going to be limited by what the comp is good at versus what it's not good at. I think PRX has got a nice read here. It's also great to see Something hitting shots, feeling aggressive, going for plays. Because I feel like outside of one awesome game against Karmine Corp, he hasn't quite been at the top level that I expect from him.
He's a very confidence-driven player, I think, as well. I mean, if you take a gander at any of the PRX vlogs as well, you see it. You know, he wears his heart on his sleeve, actually. He has to be picked up on a frequent basis. You know, confidence around him, being the support staff and the players, his teammates. But when he has good games, you know, this guy is just unleashed.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Well, they know where he's positioned at the moment, and that's where you should expect the op to play. Many flashes to try to push him off the line.
So to try and defend the line as well. Bit of Odin spam and spray through. Jumping spot, you do not survive that apparently. It's a nice attempt and a nice clear runs, but still, as they're trying to swarm the positions, they're getting absolutely pounded with artillery. Lesto. 1 HP, man, 1 HP. And maybe more than a dream. He's managed to bring this to a 2v2. Doesn't have the spike though. That was dropped down a little bit earlier.
Look how bold Forsaken is. He just jumped up on the same spot with a classic in hand. 2Es? He's seen it!
Just ulted up there and he just sees him crouched.
That's unreal!
Knee or an elbow, I'm not too sure, but it just pokes out here. It's on the other side of the map.
And he's thinking, how on earth have my team lost this? What's going on?
Just no shot. I mean, Les, of course, being a difference maker. Now, they don't know where Munya is.
They have no idea. And PRX are the kind of team to over-rotate a little on defense, so they assume that he's close.
30 seconds
and now
left.
Munyet's wondering, well, where have they gone? Because If they were just on B, surely they would have got the plant down.
Incredibly winnable. How low these two players are for Munyet.
He could kill them both with one nade.
Exactly. The nade, and not just that, went away from the showstopper, but he really wanted to try and seal the deal. Here it is. He's got a lot to clear here, but maybe gifted yet. Bit of that information. Pulls out the rifle, expecting the re-swing. Both the players are towards the back of the site now. A smoke. Drop down, Classic out. Thinks twice against it, thinks second against it. Boombot forwards, that's gonna have to be broken. Nade, rebounds, out wide, and now he's just firing. Here's the rocket, talked about it earlier. Pre-fires in the corner, but he guesses incorrectly. And now he's left wondering, which way is Tuyas? How did he reposition? Time, ticking, shortly getting away from him. He thinks he's behind the boxes. A miscom perhaps away from it. Tuyas wins it out, and a MasterCard Thrifty.
What a wild way to end that round. I'm really unsure how it even got to that point, frankly, but you could just see the mind games between both of those players. The less information there was available, the more it favored Les and Tuyas.
Watch them run.
Just a walk in through B main. And this one.
One enemy remains.
Who ults into that spot?
Unheard of. Truly unheard of.
God, that's a face of
It's scary.
resignation almost.
It's a
on
scary
Alex's
face, isn't it?
He's normally a little more animated than that.
Be practicing stoicism or mewing, not too sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Either inspired by Marcus Aurelius or Sigma males.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very similar, actually, very similar. So Loud now in a great position, right? Having won that round, it just turns the whole of Ascent, at least this half, on its head. Their economy is now flourishing, right? They're going to be in a position where they've got a good economic bank to work with. And they're also coming into this round with a huge rifle advantage, starting to get up to big ults. This is where Loud's attack side comp looks so scary, even though they're one round behind in reality.
That's when they start to come alive. This spot here, it's how pivotal that last round was for PRX to end up winning it out. The weak goodbye for Forsaken. How much is he really going to be able to do here with a runner back facing him? QCK going to be making sure to clear all the available corners. Has a bit of util to set him up. Knife out. One to the cranium. Does drop that one. Here we go. Second go of things. Forsaken doing quite well in that position there, but only going even here. 4 versus 4, but he has more time for the fast rotate.
And everybody on Loud playing on-site post plants. You know, even if Loud are able to get this, PRX can make it extremely expensive just by holding B main and the defense spawn.
Being cleared out now. Smoke propped up. Pre-firing up to the sky. Expecting Dizzy. Ozzy though, now defaulting over towards the fold line, using that util to try and delay, but you are right, this could get pricey very, very quickly. Dizzy, broken. You're in there with the protocols, and now just Loud to realize they have to really just barrel their way through this one. They are being penned in here with the guns, should be favored. Almost nice with the movement there from Divide, but shut down there. 2 players surviving from Loud, 9-9, even scoreline.
And Loud keep enough players alive that they do still have that cushion to work with. Tuyas can drop Sadak, and they've got a good buy going with some spare cash to float around. It's Loud's ults that now become an issue for PRX. The more you let them get set up to go for example, the Rolling Thunder, the more difficult it's going to be. I'm looking at the minimap, and PRX look poised to go for some serious A-main aggression.
That puts the pressure on Mindfreak, doesn't it?
Yeah, because as soon as Sadak calls that, they're going to be running into the pit, I would imagine.
Drop down, knife, spam into the corner. Mindfreak already dropped down to 50. Never mind, he's dead.
He's gone.
Finished. Dealt with.
And now, to be honest, Loud have no reason to immediately go into a B-site hit. Right? They know that PRX are very fast on defensive rotations. They cleared out Gelato early. Loud can just pump the brakes here and allow PRX to spread out a little bit around the map, or even force them into making a play that they can punish.
No command. Smoke off the timing for it. Just try and block off B main here. Molly sent flying into the smokes available here. Ready with the spam. Damage being done. Sadak barely alive, but does return the fire. Forsaken still.
What a
tucked
spot.
into the side. Yeah, but not going to be clear potentially, but faced by too many targets in opposition. This time storming into the site. It's going to be gained for them with that territory. Loud now. Reload. The Odin, 2 players left alive here. Munyet though has got his back to all the available players. Flashes really quite excellent peeking through it. So now Loud taking that lead, 10-9. We talked about it, that danger zone for them, but this is how the comp operates, how it works.
And you can see the PRX are trying to disrupt it. If that had been Loud taking a main control at the start of the round instead of B main control, then they would have had an enormous clash in Gelato.
Yeah.
And who knows who would have come out on top. But PRX kind of gambled incorrectly. They were going for the hard read. Loud do tend to favor the A site with the way that they call their attack sides. And just happened to be the wrong one. They were hoping that Mindfreak could hold stuff down on the B side of the map. And Les has got the read just inside his head. I think both of these teams struggled a little bit to be able to impose their will on the defense side. But what we saw from Loud on defense was that they actually found those rounds to be able to catch PRX doing something. And we're not really seeing that when the sides are flipped. PRX are going for a lot of early round aggression instead of mid-round aggression, and I think that timing difference has ended up being quite important for them. It's easier to read when it's just straight off the rip.
Yeah, it is.
I main Sova on Lotus.
I mean, honestly, there's worse things to play. There are worse things to play.
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen it firsthand.
Like League of Legends.
Okay. He said it, not me. I can hear cackling from the desk, man.
All right.
Elimination game.
PRX are in a tough position here, though. They really are. It's about to spiral out of control. Forsaken's not really found opportunities to have his will imposed upon the game. And he snuck up to try to take fights. Grabs one, and he gets out.
Forsaken scot-free, man.
He's the player that's been the difference maker this tournament, and he wants more.
Oh, punished for the jump spot.
So punished for that.
2 players waiting for him to just make that kind of mistake with the paranoia flash over the top. There was a bit of a team blind, but on site control for them. And now fighting towards Market. Something dropped dead. Difficult spot the PRX are being put into here is that the fact that Loud are just getting into these sites. Obviously, it's against a half by PRX, but they're not having to use ultimates doing it. They can save them now for when PRX have a bit of a buy round, the money's back into an orderly and sensible fashion.
PRX here. Again, the silver lining would be to apply enough pressure that the ults do get invested. It just doesn't seem likely, though.
No, it doesn't, does it?
And PRX's game plan has broadly been... Hello, we'll see. No, there's no danger here. PRX's game plan has broadly been to try to stack one of the sites and just kind of hope that Loud are going there.
One enemy remaining.
And the problem with that is, if you gamble incorrectly, Loud have just got into a post-plant situation.
Yeah.
And not just that, PRX are not playing the other side for full retake. They're playing it to still anchor with like one player. For example, when Mindfreak was inside his pit. Or here where Forsaken is trying to challenge B main alone for a cheeky kill. They're on the eco. But if you're gonna stack one side of the map super heavy, you're kind of forced to play full retake on the other. And just rely on your double initiator comp. At least something's enjoying himself out there. This is the round where PRX absolutely must get back in control if they have any chance of winning Ascent.
Need it. And group positions here. I mean, the Molly, they've got 10 for that one, but just to slap it down. Onto the orb. Paranoia, blind, nade, rebounds, and will clear out a few of these players too. He is timely there with a TP.
But Loud are going for a lot of re-clears, right? We haven't seen them go for big rotates around the map. PRX are realizing that. The re-hits coming through.
And here it is, rolling thunder. That will be a large
Divide dodged it.
I did dodge it, but there's a one-way smoke into his face. At least they deal with that, run it back. Divide, does he seek to try and disrespect this timing? Out and through, yes. The PRX players still holding their ground and basically rooted in place. And Les is now going to offload the pit to try and get them through. This is a call.
This is an amazing ult if you're planning to rotate and maybe split or go over to B. It's not that great for going into sight, but it keeps a lot of players on site.
Using a Nightfall. 2 tags. Here and out. Prowler sent straight through tree, wondering if that split's coming through. But now with 40 seconds, Loud are happy to wait this one out, but which direction are they going to take it towards? A seems like the likely contender.
They've smoked for a B split, though, so Forsaken's worried.
30 seconds left.
He's had to watch and peel himself away. Top of mid, eyes onto it, Munyet. Paranoia settling in. Divide inside the smoke, wants to rule that position and take names away from them.
What?
Picked up. He's right behind them.
What?
What is that kind of play? Still, heads are falling and so are the bodies. Toppling down. Time working against them now. Over the top and running around. Oh my God.
That is the most important round, though, that PRX could have secured in that moment. They got the read that it was over towards A. They're starting to figure out how Sadak's calling the attack side. Do you remember earlier on in this game, PRX were throwing huge utility into A main and then rotating away, expecting Loud to pivot. Do not want to hit a heavy site. And because Sadak's been going for re-clears and re-hits so often, PRX had stacked so heavily on that area. Now, if that has got to be Alex's reaction to 2E's making the play, because he had that one moment of despair and didn't follow up on it. 2E's is actually ready to counter-op something in B main. But something, for whatever reason, has got those tingles on the back of his neck. He knows it's not a great idea, but he's starting to creep a little closer.
Fuse has been spotted, tucked to the corner now. It is home, and he can reposition here, but sets him up onto the line nevertheless. But now he's going to back away and respect it. Important to note, you know, we talked about it that previous round, but Loud did end up using 2 or 3 ultimate, something. Wall up in his face, contact plays, and he's out of there. Backing away, covering fire from Forsaken. Sure, the evacuation goes off without a hitch. Walking straight into the line of sight. It's something who's sniping them away in precision across the board for PRX. Wiping out the opposition.
Awesome round. This has really turned the tables. It's only Cowanzine left alive. They know where he is. Trapped in a corner. He's going to have to duel 4 players to be able to get out of here.
Util in the stun.
He's just stuck.
No chance. So
11 to 11.
And the adjustments coming in handy.
Yeah, looking lovely. PRX don't try to contest super early. They've got like a slightly delayed op peek into B main, which is a nice timing to go for that. And they just catch this timing. Something is always a couple of seconds ahead of the play here. If he was a second slower peak in market, he might have died to QCK. If he was a second slower peak in B main, probably dies to 2E's. It's all about those tiny, fine margins. No hesitation.
Loud scratching their heads a little bit here, wondering how they can get that advantage. Now Les takes a load of damage off the rip, 61 health drop down.
Yeah, it's actually one of the first times we've seen Les try to solo take this area, and he's immediately dropped.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of a counterplay, I think, as well. Les usually throwing the orb from that angle.
Something makes it feel like it's the same setup in this round, which broadly speaking it is, by taking that op shot into market. And now it's actually caused Loud to pivot away. They do not want any of that smoke.
Crack of an angle. Devi turns away just at the right time. No flash in his face, backs away now holding the paranoia. Now there is no contact for this kind of play, so he's going to be backing away to the site and gives up control of Tree.
With all of this noise, something's getting on a more aggressive line, so if they try to go back into a
Clear.
B-split, it's going to be difficult.
Clear, just can't quite land the bullets. No way, this is overzealous potentially. Perhaps, maybe over-aggressive, but they're not expecting it still. They've sucked up that space right back away from them. Sadak, the sole survivor of that position into Tree, lays down the nade, but there's no follow-up. Flash now to re-peek. It's a nice one, at least to try and cook up on the fly, but PRX are online.
It's so reminiscent of their game against Karmine Corp. The late resurgence in the final rounds. It's looking excellent. Loud dragged 2 of the maps against Sentinels into overtime. Are they able to do the same here? The economy is not good. Their game plans through mid have been countered. But they were winning when they dominated one side of the map and went for the exec.
Oh, counter spam again! Les is trying to play it himself with the ult, and they're disrespecting him!
The same plays working out again for PRX. It's like they just run back the highlights of the previous rounds.
That's just insanity.
Forsaken spamming, as far as I can tell, the exact same line, and this time, Les goes down, something's feasting!
Little to no chance for Loud now, this map 1. Be sealed up nice and pretty with a bow on top of it. For PRX, all the right adjustments at all the right time, but fuel to the fire just running out for Loud as well with his composition. They are struggling ever since they haven't been able to get those ults online, but Wingman sends him out flying. Quite connect, Kawazine seeking to try and pivot, but he can't break the door in time, has to reload too on top of this, and already something is there Following the sound cues, jiggle it out, baits out the op shot at least, but right into the judge. Now Forsaken, trapped in the corner, but it matters not. It's a 1v5, it would have to be the play of 2 years' his career to stand even a chance in hell. And for PRX, a leisurely walk is what it feels like. Happy and secure in the knowledge that they are just setting sail into the sunset. Happy as anything. Map 1 entirely wrapped up.
A beautiful late resurgence from PRX there, figuring out how to deal with Loud's attack side at the perfect moment. And Loud, I think, straying away from what was working for them in previous rounds, going instead for more of a play through mid, trying to get value out of the Viper wall, and connecting so often with the Judge, or primarily the Odin and the Op.
Absolute insanity, and guess what? We've got plenty more action left to come. Sunset on the cards. That is going to be a fantastic one. Two teams that are potentially evenly matched. It doesn't stop anywhere near here.
Excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of us?
Oh, no problem.
Thanks.
Yes, problem. You need Verizon. Trade in that old thing and get a new iPhone 15 Pro with tons of storage, so you can take all the pics. So many selfies.
A preposterous amount of panos!
That means panoramic. And as many portraits of me as your heart desires.
How about none?
None, yeah, none feels right.
Trade in any iPhone in any condition and get iPhone 15 Pro and iPad and Apple Watch SE all on us. Only on Verizon.
The pics. So many selfies.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Hey guys, Mika here, and I'm with Alex of PRX. That was a really, really close map. I want to know what was the most difficult part about the prep for this match, especially since it's such a high pressure match and you're up against a team that you really only get to play against in events like these.
Yeah, I think Loud is one of the most intelligent and most consistent teams on the circuit, right? So they don't, we don't even know what they're gonna pick on the map Vito. They can play almost all 7 maps, probably can. We just have to focus on ourselves this game. I think we haven't had the best run, so we really just want to get this, get ourselves like quite more aligned, if anything.
Okay, keeping it humble, but that had us on the edge of our seats. So let's jump into the game for more.
PRX proving that you cannot judge a book by its cover. You think when they're out of this one, when they don't have it anymore, they find the magic yet again, and they're up 1-0, Mimi, in this elimination game against a Loud team that I don't think a lot of people were giving PRX the time of day against.
The thing is, even if you judge them by their contents, the context, it's changed a lot throughout this tournament. I think this team came in not looking in their best form, but they just displayed an incredible map against Loud here. Their executes were looking clean on the attacking side. Something's up was dominating on the defense. It was clear that with time, this team is really starting to figure themselves out.
Yeah, exactly. And on the side of Loud, even though they have a lot of experience with this composition, we still see some mistakes, like dry picking when you have a composition that has Phoenix, KO, and Breach. Cowanzine from the defense not finding a moment to even use his ultimate until like the penultimate round, and holding them and actually not using the composition to the full of its ability.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people watching this team regionally was kind of bringing up that some of the combos looked undercooked. I was one of those people, but at this point, it's so well put together, right? The timings they're playing with, using the fade ult to deny noise, send that heavy presence towards A main, as Wanyet just picks the perfect timing. The coordination for the squad is looking on point.
Yeah, I think that overall, the way that they were working the map, sometimes at a certain point in their attack, it looked a bit overcooked. You see that the map looks very different when you don't have a Sentinel in both of the ways. And I also think it has to do a lot with the Viper play, right? Because we saw a lot of very different walls coming from both of the teams. I don't know if we will have the time to actually like dwell on what each one of them do. But I think that overall, this could have been an overtime perfectly.
One. I mean, you know what's the one thing I really enjoy about PRX is that you think that they, like, when they go for these like wild plays, they look like they're geniuses. But when things don't go their way, you're questioning, what they're cooking up here. One example of that, I mean, the guy was just lights out that whole map because he was just taking risks. He was getting in front of them, and he was creating opportunities and creating space for his team with that on.
I've been a big hater of the Gecko off in the past.
You have.
But I think the way that they played it, in particular on this defensive side, was really good. Loud as a comp that relies on getting extremity control with the double flashes and splitting into sites. Something is really good at finding timings around flashes, taking that split-second moment and getting a kill on an extremity. That was utterly shutting down Loud's execute in the first part of their attacking side.
I got a stat from Space, shout out from him. Something took 33% of first engagements and won 88% of them. That is crazy. Coming in from a Gecko. And by the way, now that we're going into Sunset, this is not the composition that is played without a duelist, okay? This is his Gecko when there is a duelist also in the composition. Definitely, this is one of the other things that throws everybody so off of a PRX. It's not that their duelist is going to be in your face, which he is going to be, probably on your back because of that movement. It's also that you have to deal with something on the operator.
I also really want to credit Coach Alex and whoever the IGL du jour was for this team today, because they really varied up. Thank you. It's a very small word, actually.
I'm not a smart guy.
Actually. But they really varied up how they were going for that aggression. Early on, they were going for those extremity fights I was talking about. Then Loud figured it out. They varied it up and went for mid-round aggression instead. And then towards the end, very last round of the game, they go back to the extremity fight, win it. It was a beautiful map from PRX. Another heartbreaking, close map loss for Loud, which now now brings us to Sunset.
Exactly. We need to talk about Sunset, about obviously what happened yesterday, a Loud that was running out of time in a lot of instances, that was losing the plot, and how this PRX is going to be different, right? We're talking about a PRX that most likely will be playing with the Sage. Again, with no duelist on this map against a Phoenix. Definitely, I'm looking at the Gecko play. I'm looking at that kind of surprise that I think was off for Loud yesterday.
Well, I think also, too, when you pair in with the fact that, you know, these teams have played this map, where we've seen both teams, you know, go at this. But here's the funny thing. I was looking at the stats. PRX, a lot more success here, right, in this competition. They've played it a few more times. They've thrown some unique ideas. They've beaten the likes of Heretics and EDG. They beat Gen.G in the Pacific Kickoff. This is doable for PRX at a 2-0.
Yeah, I really like the way, especially these two teams' comps are going to compare. Loud is playing the Phoenix Breach again. It's a similar win condition of playing for really heavy extremity control on their defense, getting QCK posted on those lines, and farming him orbs. PRX did a good job of shutting that down in map number 1, but I think it's a lot harder to deal with this breach when Loud will be on defense on Sunset.
And especially, we go back to something that we already saw on Ascent. No Sentinel for this team. So of course, we see the Sage, but it is not the same. A Sunset with no Cypher, but both Vipers on both the sides. I'm looking at the Vi and how he's going to be using those walls, not only for him, for Moniette, and how Loud is going to read onto those.
No matter who's on the team around him, Sodox Loud has an expectation of making it deep in these international runs. They lost to PRX at Champions. They have a chance to make up for it here if they can push us to a third map.
This could very well be a fitting battleground here for the final battle between Loud and PRX. If PRX end it here, they will sunset the run of Loud, or Loud can force a map 3. Let's send it back over to Brennan Sideshow for the call.
Exactly right. It's Loud who are now on the chopping block in this elimination game, our first one of the playoffs. And PRX coming out with some surprising form, surprising improvements, you know, against all regular expectations, I will say. And now we set our sights onto Sunset, the second map here of this series. Should be relatively even. Both of these teams, they like to play this map. They're quite good at it in their own way and form.
I love the way the PRX approach this. We're going to see him immediately take some mid-control. The clashing tiles.
Yeah, they're just trying to fight them. They're watching for it.
Tui's. I think he got a collat there with the Ghost onto Divine and Moniette.
A ridiculous beginning here. I can expect Mindfreak, who's worked his way in. He's thinking twice about it now. Backs himself into market. What a beginning. I mean, the smoke deep down, not expecting that tile's aggression there. That just comes down to a game of chance.
Yeah. PRX are so happy to opt into the variance that is ever present in this game. And hope that it works out in their favor. The smoke there to try to block off certain sight lines coming from bottom mid. But as you say, they just had no idea that Loud were going to run a pistol, which also involved them charging towards mid through tiles.
They want to take the fight straight to him, try and earn a few more of these ults, less onto the corner.
It's a good idea for QCK to try to push through that, see if he can find the kill.
Yeah.
It's going to be his ult that they try to build up early, but that's not exactly the way the cookie crumbled to open things up. It's actually very close. Two kills under death, plus the ult.
We'll see how that opens up. I mean, yeah, they're just using that deep smoke to hide from a potential deep dart that gets used. Loud just above the sign of market.
Yeah. It's a specific counter-strap pistol, and Loud just happened to utterly destroy it.
Right here.
And now, PRX stacking towards the A side.
Standing ahead.
Smoking mid in the exact same fashion, hoping that somebody sees it. Just a call, like there could be that presence into mid.
Les completely alone here. He's going to get overwhelmed. And now PRX are going to understand that this was fake pressure early on over towards A. So Salek's got to accelerate. They've got to get into the B site. But you've always got to be worried with PRX. Is there still one player hanging around this area? It's going to slow them down slightly.
That's why they're clearing it. Due diligence. Showcase, drone through as well, making sure they're into the back of the site.
Flash.
Players though, deep flash. Along with that, I mean, a Dizzy, a wingman, everybody collided and collected into that deep corner here, but it just don't have the weaponry to really nail them. The paranoia was fantastic, and maybe more so. One player to stand. It's Tui's on 1 HP. Smoking onto the spike, it's turned just like that. Wall up, Devi blocking it, has to be broken here, but a reload for 2 years now, and he's so low that it just feels like he can't get the spam bullets on, spraying through, just needs one to really hit and connect. It's not happening! It's a massacre, Thrifty.
And Devi even cleaning up 2Es at the end. He can't recover the rifle. But what a round for PRX. And that is immediately in round 2 showing you some of the power that PRX have on defense. And it comes down to the fact that their comp is so good for flood defending into B. That flood defending back B is one of the most successful ways you can possibly play this map. And when you have flash dizzy combos to get into backside, and then sage walls to block stuff off, and smokes additionally too, Loud are going to find it difficult in post-plant situations.
Nice, 4 spotted here. Wonderful indicator. What danger is there in this round? Maybe if 2 years are able to just flip the back ahead of Devi. Doesn't. He's in mid though.
2E's is fast to get into position to make the play. But 2 players doubled up, Devi and something looking to re-clear.
Yeah, good level of awareness.
And Forsaken also with pretty decent awareness on the other side, even though that one-way missed.
Yeah, into this corner, he's really stuck here. There's no repositioning, they've overwhelmed them. Doesn't matter about the superior weaponry. Must be that refight, the re-peek as well, a little bit. Strangling the beast that is their rifles. Aftershock can be walking too far into this one. Dodging of the flash, Dizzy up into the air, but Sadak, he's taking a fight straight to them, and now frustration really showing. Dodging at a timing, no! The dart just reveals and towards the back, and it's back-to-back Thrifties, man.
MasterCard are getting their money's worth today. I mean, we're coming off the back of the Sengen G game where we just had Thrifties over and over and over too. I'm confused though. In what way was Forsaken stuck in the corner? Monyet's above him. He can walk backwards whilst keeping his crosshair focused towards A-Link. They could have set up a double face.
Yeah, they could have.
He's just kind of shoved himself in a corner looking to try to take the fight. I assumed he was just going to continue backing up. Very odd. Opened up the door though for Loud. Opportunism. Finding them the second round there and getting things back on track. There's that same smoke to try to deny.
Oh my goodness, you're joking. You're joking.
And it gets Cowanzine down.
Not again, that's a spike dropped. And they've gained control and ground and another kill. You cannot be doing this to me now. I'm telling you, the MasterCard representatives will be very happy, but it's not exactly the most picture-perfect Valorant that we've ever seen here. Wingman alerting the presence, at least to know now that a few Loud players are here. Spike's still dropped down, but it's coordinated off, and they've obtained those rifles, and they're using them to great success. Now, having to really just brute force their way through. They've gathered the spike up, but listen, they're just spamming it through. One left to stand, Sadak. You can't overcome it. It's a back-to-back Thrifties.
This is ridiculous. This is so similar to Split with Sengen G. The aggression coming out, very similar to the pistol round. And Loud, think of things from their perspective just for a moment here. They're in an elimination game. The pressure is on them. They're playing against a difficult opponent. They've only matched up against once, and they lost that time. Expectations are mounting for them to try to make a podium finish. You get the pistol win, you throw it away, you win it back, and it disappears out of your hands again.
Relation to disappointment, back again here for Loud.
A true roller coaster of emotions. Now, Cowanzine's trying to get Tiles to use this vault line that goes sideways and covers both sides, and they use it to pick off something. So once again, Bren, the team with worse utilities winning it out.
Okay.
I say worse utility, I scrambled my words. I meant worse weaponry. The utility was fantastic. But that's Cowanzine trying to get that deep Tiles position, and this time no one from PRX punishes him for it. It's just a game of playing over various different areas of map control and a little bit of gambling of where PRX want to fight.
CK will lead the charge here, making sure all the areas are cleared. Into the side, Cowanzine dart into a risky position. An attempt of a timing by Mindfreak is immediately punished. 2 left to stand, 2 left to fight. PRX. They got in them. Yeah, really wide face there, and he's going to get beamed down straight through the wall. Devi does have the money to make a go of this, but does he really still opt into it?
The thing is, their economy's still in a good spot because we've just been sent through the tombola machine. You never know what's coming out the other side, and we're all getting shaken up and down.
Backside position though, quickly, Devi is going to be swarmed from this position. Molly at the feet, dropping down, and a nailed shot, man. I mean, so much precision.
I'm not saying it again,
You're not saying it again?
I'm not doing it.
I mean, I'll do it. I'll activate the sponsors. I'll make them happy. MasterCard Thrifty.
Look, Loud are now in a position, though, where they're starting to get huge ultimates online. Their composition has ults that you need like 7 to 8 points to be able to get online. You're not supposed to really have access to these big ultimates as soon as the economy starts going for your opponent. But PRX are one away from being broken here. Not that that means anything in this map. And now Lauda pretty close to some big ults. Now I'm looking at Cowanzine's positioning. And he sends an early fault line up towards A and is trying to take space off the back of this recon. But look, he is quite exposed in mid here. And he's trying to take this tiles position. The second fault line perhaps for a later re-clear over towards A. If indeed you had somebody like Forsaken looking to fight there or something with his operator.
Take flight. Quite slow and steady though, cautious.
But they have multiple tools for these map control plays, and this time deciding to invest the drone. No tag, so no ult from Sadak.
Delayed wall.
Yeah. And if you break it, you give away that there was serious pressure behind that.
Pinging up onto the top of it. I mean, Divide loves to play on top of this here. Great flash. Taken, rattles off a few bullets, lets them know his presence. Knife's going to be sent into the opposite direction there with 2 tags. They seek to try and make a go of this one here. Pop Flash plays the Hunter's Fury at his back to set it up, and then we're in anti-flash position. Okay, so Loud have the protocols to deal with that. Themselves now into this site. Will they choose to use any more ultimates? A bit of random spray once more by Divide. It's that Phantom at play, at work.
30 seconds left.
It's a bit of chip damage, but nothing really more to show for it. And here it is.
4 players blinded.
There, big one with the Dizzy on top of it. Rolling Thunder now has to be committed. Thrash slow to a crawl. Les is a monster in this spot. This particular position and any attempt here, they just want to barrel over the smoke position. Something, no chance here on the retake. Not with the operator now, so he has to just run tail between his legs.
PRX's composition is fantastic on those retakes. You saw the amount of utility that was flying towards Loud, and they still managed to come out the other side unscathed. Mostly, I think, due to the fact that Cowanzine had managed to save his ultimate. They were thinking about investing it. You could see Cowanzine positioned in a spot where he was thinking of ulting sight towards A, but they took the gamble, saved it for the post plant, and came out to the good. Now Cowanzine... Cowanzine dying to spike there. Don't ask me.
Luckily they've got money to spare.
Yeah. But that's a great punish onto Forsaken. And Les choosing to try to take the aggressive option, not caught by any of that retake utility. It was perfect. Les and Cowanzine stepping up for Loud.
Yeah, and now a timeout being taken here for PRX. The trouble is, how do you get a grip in terms of what is replicatable? Because the rounds that you're winning have been seemingly down to just hitting a few stray shots, going for the mid-aggression.
Well, you can clearly see that they have an anti-strat prep with regards to Monyet's smoke to try to deny info for Sadak's recon, right? So maybe you try to lean into that a little more and put pressure onto tiles. That was clearly their game plan coming in, and just because you lost the pistol round doesn't mean that you're always going to lose a fight happening there. But I think the other part of it too is that they just allowed, because of the craziness of how this map began, allowed to start getting some big ults online. And to be honest, in my opinion, that was the biggest problem there. If PRX had been able to run that same retake scenario, but without the breach ult, I really think they're favored.
Looked like it.
And it is so important in moments like this to not overcorrect. If you have the right ideas, and they're just not working, you might still want to stick to them. Like I was talking about earlier, PRX do have a lot of variance in the way that they play. When you have two teams like this that are so down to just opt into fighting against each other, it is going to vary. Form is going to play an enormous factor.
I feel like just a coin flip at times here. We could buy for PRX. We'll see if it makes a difference. Mindfreak is sole recipient of the rifle. He's going to be holding down a B angle just by himself here. Orb's going to be given up. Acknowledgement there with the Dizzy going down, so they know that there's players lurking around, a slow default play, which, you know, isn't anything out of the ordinary for Loud.
No, and you can see that Loud is starting these rounds really passively. They're making sure to not go for any deep plays over towards mid.
Or Mindfreak.
They're barely going into B main until just now. Spot the shoulder of Mindfreak, and he hops away. Did they even really get confirmation there that he has a rifle? I'm not sure.
Mindfreak position Always trying to tuck himself up onto the box here. Are they even going to be aware of it through slow warp at their feet? Kawazine, a few random bullets. He might think it's cleared. It's not. Patience played to perfection here by Mindfreak. Might be looking for a few more still. He's dropped down to 2 of them. Divide has gun of his own now, ready for the spray through, ready for the spray down, revealed, tucks to the corner, sidearm out and wide, but less will put him down and put him to rest here, dodging to the flash, but he's got a lot to overcome now. Positioning flipped around, weaponry handed over. Discipline honed and ready, showcased by PRX. Now listen, the spike is on Les's side, but he's gonna have no opportunity to really get a free plant off here. Molly down, running through it, Monyet, and there it is. Round 1, they know it, tucked to the corner, something, recognizing the win conditions. Guess what? Another Massacre Thrifty.
Yeah, and also an ace. Just to cap off how absolutely crazy this game has been, we have another Thrifty round, powered by Mindfreak being able to get a Q play in this corner and Kawazine not really able to clear it. Divide following up with the rifle. And Les does what he can, but it's not enough. Taking the risk, playing for that variance, and it pays off for Mindfreak. Now Loud, change up the pace.
Oh my goodness, it's PRX taking a fight straight to them. Yeah, Loud opted into that pace increase. They wanted to try and fight it. It ends up them being punished. One-way smoke as well. This is just sharpness on display.
That's wild. That caught me completely off guard. I mean, Loud have been playing such slow defaults to start these rounds off. Focused on A main control, but not that fast. Forsaken almost caught a timing. Surely will.
With the gun, yeah, sticking wide and out. Tap, tap, tap with the AD. Yes, 2 years survives the duel and encounter. Has the spike in his hands, but he'd have to do a lot more than that to make this winnable, especially when he's on 8 HP.
And I'm not exactly sure what the read was there for Sadak in this round, but PRX have been fighting with 2 or 3 players every single time over towards A main. I think you've got to start trying to take space in the early round somewhere else on the map. You can go back and late re-clear with the fault line or the drone, but I think trying to just run in and take that fight straight up is going to be so difficult. There are so many tools, though, that PRX have at their disposal with this no duelist composition. If you ignore A main completely, sometimes Divide might just wall it off, and then they can just ignore it. I mean, what are the chances that both teams just decide to fight A main that fast? The flash connections were so perfect. PRX fight through all of the smoke utility to get the kills.
Yeah, not just the flash connections, I mean the shots on target too.
Yeah. And that was something that I was a little concerned about going into this game, actually. Loud are going to take a tactical timeout, but I felt like from what we had seen over the course of the rest of this tournament, Loud had more players stepping up with their individual form. You know, Les is just consistent. He's always a monstrous player. But I feel like QCK's had some big moments. Tui's has been playing better than expected too, and Kawanzi's been like putting in some solid work at times. When I was looking at the other side of things for PRX, it was only really Forsaken that was blowing me away. Something had in some big moments, but wasn't always there. Today, he's been on fire. If you want to look at one individual that turned the tide of ascent, it would be something with the operator in his hand.
Yeah.
And you've also been getting better and better performances from Monyet as he spends more time with pressure on him on the stage.
Something that Alex has been alluding to as well in these interviews, but just that stage experience being so valuable for a team like PRX when they've been making these adjustments, trying to find that identity, I think. But listen, if it's form that carried them to this point right now, the ideas and time are kind of flourishing, honestly. They've got good reads, they've got good adaptations, they've got good counter strats prepped and planned. They're making it so damn hard right now for Loud to try and deal with.
Again, PRX start 3 players ready to fight over A. And Loud go for the exact same default setup again. You know, Sova, Viper over towards A, Kawanzi in tiles. Ready for any kind of mid-aggression, sure, but not actually taking aggressive map control in B main or market, anything like that.
Through mid, face wide, doubled up in the high-low, but no casualties or kills yet. Divide, he's making a go of it, he's making a mess of it. I mean, Kawazine puts him to rest.
Yeah, the Mosh got a kill, and Sadak's just sticking the orb right in the middle of all of these guys' faces.
Oh, win. Oh, no.
Wait!
He's doing what? What's going on?
That's wild. Just hoping that he would find another player involved. Galantine sprays down two, but
Grabe.
something gets the response. And it's all left to Tui's, who, of course, is not in A main where the fight is happening.
No, he wouldn't be. He'd be on the other side of the map, of
And
course.
He certainly is, without the Omen ult to be able to make the play happen. Thrash hunting him out. Smells blood in the water, but can't quite get a sniff this time.
Misdirection might be working to the
30
favor
seconds
of
left.
2 years now. Time pressure will work against him. Spike has dropped down into no man's land.
If something gives him a free kill, though, this is winnable.
That's how the clutch really begins, but he was just aiming in the wrong location. 4 kills in the round for something.
And this round, Loud did actually try to... It wasn't early round market control, but QCK started walking into mid after they realized PaperX weren't fighting it, and then was looking to prod towards that area of the map.
Yeah.
But there was no smoke up towards top mid, not enough players in mid to dominate those sight lines. And so there's a kerfuffle that happens over there that PaperX come out, I guess, to the good.
Grabe
And
si
Sadek's
something.
trying to make it fake like it's happening over towards A, and the PaperX players just peek. The more mess that's involved here, the more I think you start playing towards PaperX's strengths.
Fast play again. Deep molly, deep dart, flash into the corner. Munyet's here with the judge. No clearance. No clearance. It's starting to get sloppy. It's starting to get sloppy indeed. And guess what? Exactly where a team like PaperX thrives. Pound for pound, this team, they were born and bred in the chaos. And they're showcasing exactly why. You can never underestimate this squad still. Yet walks straight into it. 2 years again. Brought into essentially an unwinnable scenario.
Another round, another Loud
So
player
they could-
in a 1vx, completely surrounded.
Yep.
And
Saves.
PaperX are coming out here. They're really not adjusting their defensive setup too much. It's that Loud cannot come up with the answers.
Ano,
We've now
2-0?
seen 4 rounds in a row, roughly following the same kind of trend, where Loud want to take control of A and push PaperX back, and they can't figure out how. The judge, the paranoia, the swings from both sides, just getting pulled into the maw of PaperX.
I saw smiles on the faces of the PaperX players. Of course it would be.
Yeah, not the coach.
Never Alex. It's scary when he smiles, actually. You don't expect it.
This is the first time PaperX decide not to fight over towards A, so we might see a very different round here. Loud are actually being given this space. PaperX anticipating that they would change it up. Surely they don't go A main again after we've just been beating them.
Allowed not to be deterred, though. One away from the ultimates. Sadek builds up his. Deep drone that wasn't used to clear elbow, so they can start to use that now towards the site. Munyet, his position is vulnerable here. It's a pop flash play to set him up with a bit of supportive utility. He wants to disengage now with a smoke dropped down. No command, feeling the heat, feeling the pressure.
That's a weird one, actually, because it looks like they're playing for retake, but they've popped the null command. And Loud think that they're anchoring the site, so they haven't committed. This is a strange standoff.
Line in the sand has been drawn. Deep TP into mid here, 2 years. I believe just sticking that one, so he's given himself a deep position to mid. Probably won't matter too much. Munyet might be eager though for a challenge here. How's your reaction time? Sun flashes on flashes. Paranoia to meet their match. And a deep dart as well that's not going to be accounted for. Hunter's Fury though tucks into it, gets the connection, gets the collision course straight into these players. And Munyet does a decent job of just avoiding it. Dodging, ducking, weaving, but not enough there. And a repeat with the Outlaw. Something has something to say. A reload online. Shock darts though. Jumping around the punish. And they're out wide and open. Ready for the taking.
Even when Loud are given control of elbow, PaperX still find a way to come out on top. This is 5 rounds in a row now. After a very back and forth beginning, when no team could really get a handle on the economy, everything that Loud tries, bearing in mind that this was a lower eco buy as well, but it's all just been getting crushed. Surely Loud are going to change things up. And this time their attacking setup, does look slightly different. PaperX have already anticipated it though.
Go for
Mid. Tiles, flash
Mid.
mid.
Munyet's here already. Forwards in the approach, and he is set up with that util. Run it back, dealt with, and dropped immediately. These ults just tumbling before our very eyes here. The deep hit into B main.
It is a great read though from Les. He realizes that if they're fighting over mid, they can't be doing their normal A setup. So he takes his timing into elbow. There is a chance that a bullet could find the back of something's head here.
Yeah, he's not watching for it, and so he will be falling. flat-lined to the side, and a sight gains now for less.
We'll see,
Calling for the
yeah.
rotate and the pivot. Smokes.
He could drop a pit.
Falling down, he certainly could, and really turn this into more than a winnable spot with 2 years in that late lurk player dropping like flies. 2v3 here. Loud have a massive advantage here with the pit with the rolling thunder. Really just letting it loose and letting it rip here. Sky high. That's Devi. He's going to be flying forwards and won't be able to withstand any sort of pressure there, leaving it just to Mindfreak now.
Mindfreak's been good at catching 2Es in all of these previous rounds, but finally 2Es gets his value on the lurk. Loud with 5, but questions in my head about whether or not that's going to be enough.
Who knows?
There was a serious streak there of dominance from PRX on the defense side, and I do like the way that PRX play their attack too. I think both of these teams are very confident in Sunset. Still, anybody's game, but Loud the team under the most pressure.
Of course, listen, it's elimination. They're already one map behind. It's going to have to be that comeback, starting at the pistol round in that second half. Before we even get into that as well, earlier we did hear from Forsaken, just heading into this series.
Hello guys, I'm Jason, aka Forsaken, and I play for team PRX. Against Genji, we lost, but I don't feel anything and I don't have any regrets. I mean, I can tell that we're gonna lose because, I mean, they play well, but at the same time, I would say we just want to go lower bracket, you know, because I know that they're good, and also we're not in the good shape. I mean, like, we have like shaky map, shaky roster. Also, it's like, we're not doing as great as last time, so I didn't like regret or whatever.
Something needs to do a little bit more. He's done some damage, and there's the follow-up. A shot right to Texture's temple. That's gonna put us in a 4v2 with PRX definitely favored to take this pistol now. Forsaken Fallen, a little bit more of a chance. Something though delivers. Okay, he's up top and not spotted. Easy peasy.
If we meet Loud, I mean, I'm just gonna go all in, and I hope you guys enjoy our W gaming, you know. Actually, I feel like we shouldn't have been in the playoff. We should have been like lost like long time ago, maybe against TH or KC. Because I felt like lucky, I would say, last time. But, you know, like I said, when we go lower bracket, and every time we already played the match, finished the match, no matter we win or lose, we will like improve very fast. And hopefully in lower bracket, we will show you guys on our improvement.
Yeah, Forsaken just handling, you know, that pressure like water off a duck's back. Coming into this entire tournament, just with the lowest of expectations, and now they're just improving at a meteoric pace, looking to really just take it to a team like Loud. They have the lead here at the half of a decider map.
Yeah, I think that one of the big problems for PRX is that their previous playstyle involved them being in the flow state, of all just having the same understanding of what was going on. And the more that you try to force that kind of thing and worry about the fact that you're outside of it, the worse it gets. But just getting absorbed into this tournament seems to have brought back some of that synergy. Some of the single-mindedness that we see from them, the hive mind of PRX.
That's what made them deadly.
And the pistol rounds have been, well, I hesitate to say important because they did flip-flop a lot at the beginning of this map. But they could be decisive. Everybody on PRX grouped up to try to punish 2Es.
Disrespecting for that one here. 2 years, backs away with the TP, off-angle approach now with the paranoia, sent flying onto the left-hand side. 2 years, still not accounted for. QCK just trying to back him up as well as bail him out, and they are just collecting all sorts of kills, but the damage done through the wall, not enough to collect the kill onto Devi.
Too far forward and not playing great angles. Pushing themselves into spots where they couldn't quite get it. Overextending to deal with Devi. Sadak shocks himself on the corner, but does pick up the kill.
Getting flustered, perhaps. Okay, there eventually with the reset of the aim. Less, a 1v3. We've seen magic.
He's done damage, but he can't get through this wall. Yeah. It's so powerful on the pistol, on both sides.
Right there.
For the retake,
right there.
To block off angles in the post. It's such a nice addition to the KO Gecko comp that a lot of teams have been looking at.
Look at this, too much to clear really for less. The man in his face, follow through with the bullets. No kill collected, but he does have too much to do. Already the time's getting away from him. Look at PRX.
Panalo na naman ng
Stands up,
PRX.
holding their ground, swinging off the contact,
8-5.
and that's pistol round 1 out for them. It's been so damn important. Like you said, you know, we've been talking about the details of the importance of it despite the initial start of this first half, but really it sets them up beautifully.
Look, slow up there. Devi is used as bait, and they really do bait Loud into taking bad fights in that situation. All of this was set up as well by an underhand KO flash combo with the Dizzy. I know that people have been looking at the something POV and talking about how he doesn't, you know, recycle the Gecko utility as much, that kind of thing. But they are really good at being able to combo those together to apply a lot of pressure to their opponents. And frankly, PaperX move fast enough that sometimes you wouldn't even use a second round of Gecko util. Les takes an opportunity to try to go aggressive, gambling on the fact that PaperX would not have everybody stacked in B main.
This is where the danger zone presents itself. A team like Loud as well, because yeah, you've lost a pistol round. PaperX on our attack side again. Very ult generation heavy. Something now one away from the Thrash to be used into the bonus round into the next. Assuming Loud can't do too much more damage here on their retake.
On the flash peek in the backside as well.
Whoa!
Picking up 2. Still got that wall, but 2 is on the flank.
Yeah, Peppered here, holding the util. Good adjustment by Mindfreak.
Close. A decent opportunity, actually, to turn that away. And send us down the spiraling path of thrifty after thrifty. But it was not to be. And as you were saying, Brett, building up something's ultimate here is really devastating for Loud. Difficult to deal with. And I think the addition of the Sage Wall just makes so many of these post plants a little easier to play. This is a map where we've seen a lot of teams develop really solid retake setups, where the amount of utility coming in just ends up being overwhelming. But if you force the retakers down a certain path dictated by that Sage Wall, things get a little easier for PaperX.
Just throw a wrench into the plans of a lot of teams. I mean, Sage is so unorthodox on this map. Early Thrash. Used to set up here, out towards A.
But a fake in terms of where the pressure's actually coming from.
Yeah, I mean, he did have the spike on him, but the rest of his team now working into mid. Pop flash, wall up. Hearing all this noise, hearing all these sounds, but you can't survive it past the box. A call is made though. Loud want to commit into this fight. I'm going to commit heavily out wide. Miscommunication perhaps. Something drops down as well, forced into the spectator's seat with the spike drop down. It's a favored situation for Loud now.
They have spike. Very difficult to retrieve. If Monier gets another smoke online, which he does, he just sneaks in, sneaks out, and now all of Loud are in a pretty rough spot. They don't have any map control or information. Could be worried about some lurking happening here. So just like that, suddenly there's a lot of doubt in the heads of this Brazilian team.
Daylight robbery from Monier.
You'd expect the spam to be coming through as soon as the smoke gets deployed.
It wasn't there though, and now, because Loud was so heavily stacked up around that spike position, as you were saying, they've lost all map control.
Yeah.
They're having to triple up and reclear everything together just in case.
And they're slow to do it as well. What you see from PaperX is that after throwing that A utility, they were immediately up mid. And I was praising Sadak in the games that I've been recently watching of Sunset. He's very aware of those mid lurk timings, but PaperX are faster than Loud are anticipating. And didn't we see that all the time on Ascent? With individuals finding timings ahead of when they were going to be expected. And look at the map here, how far away the nearest Loud player is. PaperX have got tons of time to try to reposition into a spot where they can upend the player disadvantage.
Miles away. PaperX seeking to try and fight them deep into these angles. Now Loud already for it with those protocols. Moniet left alone to his devices. Only the Spectre in his hands. It would have to be a miracle. It would have to be mistakes to be made. Less though. Put on his heels as well to really collect up that kill and get that trade online. So that was a bonus round for PaperX. The 2 players surviving for Loud. They might even consider that a bit of success.
Yeah, I think I would. PaperX's economy is in a really nice spot. And not just that, they did find a timing through mid. So anytime one of these timing-based macro plays works, it's going to add another layer of confusion in Sadak's calling.
Yeah.
Because with a composition like this, you have to be mobile to plug the gaps. And if you're slower than your opponents, you're going to leave those gaps open. Something, of course, he is picking up the attack side operator here on Gecko. His opping was sublime on Ascent, one of the big reasons that Loud are now one map away from elimination.
Massive round for Loud. Have to really lock this one up. Pretty heavy with the economical investment across the board from Loud. I mean, 2 players with a bit of money to spare, all picked up as well. So Forsaken just doing his darnest to try and build up towards that big ultimate.
And a very slow beginning to the round from PaperX. Loud choosing to try to fight A main there. Recommitting to the angle after this utility was thrown.
Pushing them up. Here's a pivot though, straight into market. They got anything to try and push 2 years off. Here are the sound cues. Tidy placement there with a snake bite. Less well timed on top of it. Here we go, drone into mid, Monyet. Second tag, fakes like he could be TPing away, but he still maintains his position and his composure. In through mid now, deep knife gonna be landing into market, wall through, broken immediately. Couple of shots sprayed out. Can't quite break it though, Monyet. Could really be that insurance player now. Coming out from the back, here's the rotation, QCK collects him. Quick on it with the trigger. Now we see it, players lit up like a beacon. Something only the one instant trade. Something Forsaken just trying to play in tandem with each other, but they are overwhelming them. Mindfreak towards the back. Less is dodging and weaving, gliding across the floor. He finds it now, leaving it to Divide.
Dami ping.
Time ticking away. What is the call here?
Wala, panalo ng
Again,
Loud.
this time less sticking, not making the same mistakes. The prior game 2 years, locking down the angle and approach.
Loud coming out with a big win there after allowing PaperX to get in onto site. Really crucial that they picked up that mid lurk. QCK's at the bottom of the scoreboard, but most of that is because he found it so difficult on the attack side to get in through A main. He just got beaten up over and over again in that same position. It's not really that he's even been able to take some fair duels. And I'm surprised at how much the PaperX economy was hurting there. They came into that round with a Stinger and a Spectre, even though I thought they were taking the previous one as a bonus. Clearly they didn't. PaperX messing with their own economy a little bit has put them in a really tough spot.
Loud, they're going to be happy with it. Ooh, wall down. Face potentially can hear it. The footsteps rumbling towards him. He's looking for a tussle and a tumble. Less backing away. Will be postured away from that angle.
It's very rare that you see Less scrambled, but he did seem a little less than his calm usual self there. Forced to backpedal at some pace.
Clear game plan here for PaperX, making sure that they can absorb up all the orbs around the map. PaperX now defaulting back over towards B main.
And Tui's getting posted on A with the AWP. This is something that Loud have brought out fairly recently, but Tui's has been doing quite a lot of AWPing at this event so far.
Yeah.
And it allows them just to post him up on A, and they're not too worried. They can keep stacks towards the rest of the site. Having said that, Loud are mostly playing B for retake here. Not going to have any way of being able to challenge this.
Inside the market, Dizzy. What's that connection there onto QCK? So it looks like the wall is intact. Wasn't able to spam it down in time. Forsaken. Tux. Side by side wants to play together now. Him and something here. Running back forwards, facing with it. The flash is not connecting here. Less running back, feeling really the heat and the pressure. But Kawazin seeks to relieve it. And now back into the action and the fight. Rolling front, committed. You're not getting away with that one yet. TP to evacuate and escape the Aya, still after shock. Plenty of util left. Where that come from? Mindfreak. 2 on the table now, 2 left to go. Dropping down, knows they're not on it. Peeking through, another tap will force Mindfreak out into the open. Kawazin really seeking to deny this one, not half! Running him down! Mindfreak performs magic before our bloody eyes.
Kakalain mo yun.
What a ridiculous round for PaperX to get. That was them on basically an eco round as well. Gonna be labeled as a Red Bull clutch, but could just as easily be called the Thrifty. Their economy was not good. It all came down to Mindfreak, and Loud could not find a safe position to go for the half.
Hesitation just to stick it and trust that they could potentially just hold down the angle. The Kawazin in that spot. I mean, it's super reminiscent, honestly, of the other day.
It's very
how to play in Sen. John QT's playing the clutch. They can't decide who's sticking. A bit of miscommunication, maybe getting frantic.
It's very tough in those situations where you don't have smoke utility because you don't isolate angles that the clutch player there, Mindfreak, could be peeking from. So really, you got to just tap and push. But instead, they were, Sadak's trying to get half, wondering if he can, trying to tap to bait out the peaks, hoping that they can rely on their individual skill to win it out. And Mindfreak simply better in that moment. What a way for things to turn around, because other than that, the game plan is actually not really working here for PaperX. So weirdly enough, it's Loud to take the tactical timeout, but I think Alex will be happy to have a little chat with his team here.
Yeah.
Because what's happening is PaperX are getting into post-plant situations quite a lot, and then they're forced to go for some post-plant aggression, and there's a bit of anti-synergy with the Sage Wall and the positioning. You saw them swing with just stingers into market there without too much util at hand. They're finding it difficult to pick those timings to disrupt the Loud retake. And if they just sit there, they can do that against other teams, but not against the comp that Loud are running. They're going to get obliterated. See if they change things up or coordinate that post-plant aggression just a tad bit better.
Strange buy though for Loud.
It is, yeah. It is a
Invested into
force.
it. Yeah.
But Les would rather have a Sheriff than anything else.
This guy, I mean, he is incredibly consistent with it.
He is.
It's insane.
Got some of the best calm, raw aim based on his crosshair placement that I've ever seen.
Slow beginning though for PaperX, nice and cautious off the rip. Trying to see if Loud will overplay their hands. Initially, lots of ults really to work with for PaperX on top of that, so being given that B main control essentially for free. Looking like there is that hesitation though in terms of how they want to play it.
Yeah, it's interesting. They've spotted 2Es, and that seems to be a hard read, that if they see 2Es over towards A, it's not the Breach Phoenix setup. Because they were ready to go for the B exec there, and now they've just come all the way back over towards A. And that's got to be a call from Mindfreak, I think, because he's the only one getting info on this side of the map earlier. They're going to hit a fairly weak site. 30 seconds on the clock.
Orb rebounding, 2 years chance to play spoiler, but no, he's out of there, so. I'm sticking around to find out with this one. Hunter's Fury to try and deny this one. Plants will be disrupted. Flash up into the air. It's actually a nasty one as well. Connected onto a multitude of players. Now the plant and the pit all layered down onto the site. This does make it difficult. Toxic Screen going to be covering almost the entirety of the field.
Come on, map
No
3.
way of really using these flash players to retake in this spot.
Absolutely. Paranoia though, Monyet going to be using this one nice and early, still holding for the shotgun.
One
Molly, your feet,
PRX
Mindfreak going to push out to the
Sentinels.
open, and he is the critical player. Has to dodge and duck and weave away from these bullets. Led just flying straight past him as they're trying to attempt to clear through. Look at the
Puta
orb
massacre.
on high. 2 years. He's got so much more to do from this
Fast.
position. He just doesn't have enough info to really work with. Disastrous here for Loud.
Yo.
With the fact that it was that
Oh,
weaker
okay.
investment. In fact, the total investment. Correction from me, Loud, they did put everything into that one.
It was weaker because it was a
PRX
force. They were
Sentinels.
coming into it with at least one Sheriff and I think a Stinger to work with. But they forced into this to try to stop PaperX from getting to 11 on the board. Loud are now only 2 lost rounds away from being eliminated in 4th place.
When was the last time that happened?
I mean, top 4 of the Masters, listen, that is not bad by any means. They made it to playoffs, but when there's only 8 teams here, sure, 8 of the top teams. Look at this, another boost play coming out from PaperX.
Oh! It's disgusting.
They were innovating with that over towards A, and they do it again. Very reminiscent of when they first brought out the Sage comp on Pearl. Bait out the fights here from QCK and 2Es. And this tower is coming crumbling down, making a fool of Les to boot.
It's pure whimsy. Smiles on the
Kaya,
faces, they're
wala
having
na.
it. I mean, they have brought this to series point,
2-0.
match point. Loud on the verge of being eliminated.
And I don't think many people had PaperX winning in 2-0 fashion. Loud now need 5 in a row to be able to pull this out.
Yun, no?
And for them to go for this boost play, they know that the Dizzy has been broken in many rounds, so they know that somebody is top mid, waiting to break that piece of Gecko utility. They boost up, get the punish, and all of that in a round where Loud were just going for the eco anyway, trying to play for overtime, forced to by the force.
Before Sega, natatawa na lang.
Round 18, I should say.
And this is now going to take some heroics. Attack there with a knife. What's
He's so
the call
fast.
now for PaperX?
He's so fast.
fast! Monyet doesn't care, man! Disrespectful in nature. Back though of the head. Flipped up by Kawazin as he does seek out that trade, and he will be granted it. Now to Thrash though. Set this one up forwards here, still slowed. Seeking to reposition. Kawazin lays down the law and potentially gives them a fighting chance.
Can he be the hero just when his team needs it? One more onto Forsaken, important, and he takes it.
Good control.
4K in the round.
Oh.
Something drops him though. No ace to be really looked for. Something pulling this out of seemingly nowhere. 1v1 and Loud. Desperation. QCK knows the position. Throws the molly. Flash round dodge. Juked. Avoided. QCK saves the day.
It takes such
Muntik ang
heroics from
pasok
Loud
again.
to just put the first of 5 necessary rounds on the board. Cowanzine was slowed up, top A link. Had to take out 2 players where the trade, it looked like the spacing was good. And he'd already shut down that play from Monyet. Deletes 2 players as they come around the corner there. Mindfreak and Divide both falling. And it still came down to a 1v1. Oh.
You have to see that repeated a few more times. Loud, ideally with a couple more players intact, because
Apat pa.
taking some nasty hits.
Pero mahirapan sila dito.
It'll have to be done if they want to stay alive in the series, stay alive in the tournament.
Something looking to try to take an early timing here. Dueling against Les.
Tama na agad
See
si
how
Sada.
he's going to find the opportunity facing against this Viper wall. Les normally plays a little more passive, actually.
We have seen, you know, when Loud's back is up against the wall, Les tends to take matters into his own hands. Mind Freak taking it out. They still have the res online for this one, but Divide, with him falling, no longer available.
The reaction
QC
from PaperX
parating
looking to try to hoover up this B
patay.
control. Given that Les was peeking over towards Market,
Straight in
it's empty.
Dizzy committed by something. He's looking to see if he can get himself
Nako,
into the deep
patay ka.
line. You don't expect that. Drops
Nabi
in,
ko
3
na.
versus 3 now. The knife attack. Info gathered, at least that they know that Les is going to be there, but he's already playing
Yari
out.
kay
High-low
dyan.
setup.
Oh,
The rest of his team out
Abang.
here. Something going for the peak.
Oh,
Going for
yan
the
na.
peak. Catches it.
Wala
With the
na.
perfect timing. A bullet to the chest with the IGL down and deleted. 2 left standing. Les. Again, heroics are necessary. And it has to be coming out swinging. Traded. 1 to stand. 2 years to do the most. A fake with the TP, a paranoia evaded and dodged and juked, but a crossfire setup, it's too strong, it's too damn strong, and PaperX seal it away. Loud, drop it
2-0.
out. See you later, sent to the airport.
Goodbye.
And something closing out Sunset, doing everything for them today. What a time, what a game to come alive. The best player for PaperX in map 1 and map 2, sending home one of the VCT giants. What a clash.
Wala, kulang pa talaga si
What a
QCK
way
eh.
to have this rivalry continue with PaperX being able to get the advantage.
Wala
over
pa
a
siya
team
sa
that
level
loves
ni Aspas,
brawling,
kulang pa talaga.
loves playing against opponents that are swinging into them. Loud, unable to find the control here today to shut them down.
With that, we will say goodbye to Loud. Not the run they wanted, but an admirable effort nevertheless. Top 4 really gets heated when you have 8 teams at this tournament because the competition starts from the get-go.
Yeah, and they put themselves in a difficult position, honestly.
Okay.
This new style that they've come up with,
Here you
it
go.
does
Sentinels,
kind of cause them to
PRX,
have to plug gaps
bukas.
constantly without that Sentinel. They had to be mobile, they had to be aggressive, and they're playing against a team that wrote the book on playing an aggressive, mobile, constantly doing stuff kind of style.
Certainly did.
And PaperX still had that diligence to their play today. Still had a really nice, close, steady attack side.
Absolutely insane stuff that we've witnessed as
Wala pa
PaperX
si Jing yan.
squad
Sipin mo ko
lives
si Jing
yet
yan
another
nandiyan
day.
dyan.
Let's send it down to the
Pucha.
analyst desk to break it all down.
Unbelievable stuff from PaperX. So
Right.
many people
Thank you.
doubted them coming into this series. A lot of people were just flat out giving it